The call came just as I was finishing up paperwork. Double homicide, they said. Murdaugh Family Estate. The name hit me like a hammer. The Murdaughs weren't just a family. They were a dynasty. Centuries of power and influence woven into the fabric of South Carolina's Low Country. When someone with that much history gets murdered, you know it's not random. I arrived at the scene under a moonless sky. Flashing lights lit up the massive property, but the air was eerily still, like the land itself was holding its breath. The victims, Maggie Murdaugh, 52, and her son Paul, 22, lay near the dog kennels. Maggie had been shot multiple times, her body twisted as if she'd tried to run. Paul's body told a different story, a shotgun blast at close range, his face obliterated. I knelt by Paul, gravel crunching under my boots. The blood splatter painted a grim picture. "Partner, take a look at this. 2 different weapons, a shotgun and a rifle. That's deliberate, calculated. Someone came prepared to kill 2 people that night. But why?" Let's walk through this together, partner. The first thing you'll notice is the isolation of the crime scene. The Murdaugh estate sprawls over 1,700 acres, no neighbors close enough to hear the gunshots. Whoever did this knew they wouldn't be interrupted. Now look at the positioning of the bodies. Paul was likely killed first. The evidence? His phone was still in his pocket, later found to have recorded a Snapchat video just minutes before his death. Maggie's body was further away, suggesting she tried to flee. But here's the kicker, the blood spatter analysis. There's high-velocity spatter on the ground, sure, but also on someone else. Someone who claimed he wasn't even there. I remember standing there, flashlight in hand, when Alex Murdaugh approached me. He looked wrecked, tears streaming, hands shaking. He told us he'd found the bodies after visiting his mother, who has dementia. His story was convincing, at least at first, but something felt off. You know that feeling, partner, when a scene doesn't match the story? That's how it felt. Let's dig into the evidence, partner. 1. Cell phone data. Paul's Snapchat video placed Alex at the scene minutes before the murders. In the video, Paul's voice is calm, but there's a faint third voice in the background, Alex's. That video shattered his alibi. 2. Blood spatter. High-velocity blood spatter consistent with Paul's fatal shotgun wound was found on Alex's shirt. This type of pattern only appears if you're within feet of the victim when the shot is fired. Alex claimed he checked their pulses, but forensic tests showed no transfer of blood to his hands or clothing. 3. Weapons. 2 different firearms were used, a shotgun and a rifle. Both were family-owned. Someone familiar with the property had to know where to find them. Do you see it? The evidence wasn't just stacking up. It was towering over Alex. The thing about Alex Murdaugh is that he was a man with everything to lose. His world was unraveling fast. He'd embezzled millions. 22 federal charges for fraud and money laundering later proved that, and he was drowning in debt. The 2019 boat crash involving Paul had put the family under a spotlight they couldn't escape. A young woman, Mallory Beach, was dead, and Paul was at the helm, drunk and reckless. Lawsuits from Mallory's family threatened to expose Alex's financial crimes. Maggie had reportedly been consulting divorce lawyers, and Paul's behavior was a ticking time bomb. Partner, imagine being a man like Alex, someone who built his life on power and control. Now imagine losing all of it. That's the kind of desperation that makes a man kill. Here's where it gets personal. Alex wasn't just trying to survive, he was trying to save his legacy. By killing Maggie and Paul, he thought he could reset the narrative, divert attention from his financial crimes, gain sympathy as a grieving father and husband, and maybe even delay the lawsuits. But here's the thing about desperate men. They make mistakes, and Alex made plenty. The trial in March 2023 was a spectacle. Prosecutors painted Alex as a man cornered by his lies, his debts, and his crumbling empire. Forensic evidence, blood spatter, ballistic analysis, and GPS data sealed his fate. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict him of both murders. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But then came the allegations of jury tampering. In September 2023, Alex's defense team claimed that Colleton County Clerk of Court Rebecca Hill pressured jurors to reach a quick verdict and told them not to trust Alex's testimony. Meanwhile, Alex's financial crimes caught up with him. In November 2023, he pleaded guilty to 22 federal charges, earning a 40-year sentence, alongside an additional 27 years in state prison for related crimes. And then there's the $500,000 settlement in October 2024 for the Beach family, finally offering some closure for Mallory's death. I can't stop thinking about Maggie and Paul, about what they saw in those last moments, about the betrayal. Alex wasn't just their father and husband. He was supposed to be their protector. And yet, he turned on them in the most brutal way possible. Partner, let me ask you this. Does a man like Alex deserve a second chance, even if the jury tampering allegations hold up? Or does the weight of his crimes make that irrelevant? Here's the thing, partner. Alex Murdaugh might be behind bars, but his story isn't over. The allegations, the reopened cases, the unanswered questions, they're still swirling like blood in the water. Did Alex act alone, or was he just the last domino in a chain of corruption and greed? And if the verdict is overturned, what happens next? Stick with me. There's more to uncover. And you and I both know the truth is out there. It's just waiting to be found.